Welcome back to another edition of The Mind of OPEX. Gonna do another why you should not video. I haven't done one of these since probably why you should not buy gold. Let's talk about it, shall we? Why you shouldn't have credit cards, why you shouldn't get loans, shit like this. Now, look at it as a business perspective. A lot of people say you need to build business credit or build personal credit. For what? So you can borrow money at interest in order to pay for something now, or start paying for something now, right? So this would be like, let's say, let's go with the scenarios. I'm a truck driver, I want to buy a truck and then start a fleet of trucks. So let's say I, for some reason, have enough credit to buy 2 trucks right now, or 3 trucks right now. And then I put somebody else in those trucks. Well, what happens in that scenario? Because you're going to have to build so much credit to be able to buy 2 or 3 trucks, right? Let alone brand new ones, right? Well, what do you have to do in order to... Oh, this guy is not going to let me over. What are you going to be... What is required to get high credit? So much credit to build that credit, right? So you're going to have to get credit cards to start building credit, and that's all at interest. So you're spending more and more and more money in order to be able to perhaps one day get something that's worth more money from your credit, right? And if you're not seeing the scheme already, let's dive into it. So you're gonna have to spend money at interest, 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 so you can finally have enough credit to buy a car at interest, right? So, and that's still probably going to require you some money down, because chances are you're still not going to have enough credit at this point. So you're going to need to have a higher credit score, and you're going to put money down. So you put the money down, and that's fine, and then the money that you didn't put down is at interest. So you're going to have to be paying more money for everything that you ever purchase. More money for something that, if your car costs 20 grand, now you have to pay 27 grand, right? Over however amount of months or years. And you're willing to do this because you want to buy that car now. You don't want to wait to pay that in cash and save you 7 grand. So if you think about just your credit cards, just going up to that point, you've had to spend more and more and more money to get to that point. Then, even to buy that thing that you wanted beforehand, or have possession of that item, which you don't own yet until it's paid off, you have to spend even more money on that. So it's a racketeering scheme. It's a pyramid scheme where you're just spending more and more and more money in order to have a number go up on your resume. Let's just say the credit score. And your credit score is going to have to keep going up and up and up in order to be able to be okay with a company selling you a car or a truck or whatever. Let's go back to, I'm a truck driver. Now, all the years I have to go through to, you know, spend more and more and more money. So you're basically spending money and time in order to make a number high enough for somebody to loan you a car, or a bank to loan you a car. It's not the truck company or the car company or the real estate agent. It's not all of them, right? They don't set the bar. It's the banks that set the bar. Oh, well, you want a loan at 25 grand? Well, let's figure this out. Is that going to be worth it? Are you going to be able to pay it back? And, you know, they look at your credit score, your ratings, and they'll look up what you've owed in the past. Do you owe anything? Basically just to determine, are you okay to have this vehicle when clearly you don't have enough money to pay for it, or you don't want to pay for it totally. So going back to my trucking scheme, it's going to take me years to get to that point of borrowing money and paying back at interest. It'll take me years just to get a high enough score to still require some money down. And after all those years of spending more money than the product's worth, because you're a moron, you finally get that number high enough, you still got to put money down, and you're still paying it at interest. So now I buy 5 trucks, right? And I finally got a high enough number to do so, right? And that number isn't actually value of monetary system. It's actually a score. It's actually non-existent in real life. It's just something that you believe, and because everyone's brainwashed to believe that this number has something to do with your credentials or your ability to pay back loans. So you finally have to put down 50 grand on 5 trucks or whatever, and each truck is about 50 grand, right? So they basically, and this is one of those scenarios that are like, you would have to save up for years of spending money and everything, and loaning money, and never paying anything fucking truly with cash, and just getting it clean slate. So you've already been brainwashed into a system where you have to be spending more money on everything, and do not buy cash. You can just get a loan and spend more money, which means, what do you have? Less money. You are giving away free money for a fictional number, right? Come on, this is what's going on. This is the philosophy of this. Yes, can that number give you more power in the free market? Yes, but only to borrow money. That is it. And if you're somebody that's always borrowing money, what are you doing? You're always behind. You're always in greater risk. So let's go back to that scenario. I buy 5 trucks and put down 50 grand. I owed 250 grand that needed to be financed, which again, or no, 200 grand that would need to be financed, which again is probably at the high end of the spectrum, and banks will probably still say no. You would have to have quite a business plan and putting money down and doing shit on your own stuff, right? So let's say 50 grand down, finance you 200 grand, and you get 5 trucks. Right? They're all used trucks. So if a risk type scenario, you're already paying interest on that 200 grand, let's say 300 grand, right? Over X amount of years or months or whatever. So you're spending an extra 100 grand, which you've probably already spent over 100 grand trying to get your credit score up, right? Just so you can get loaned for 200 grand, and now you're spending another 100 grand on that, right? Which is, again, a scam, because everything is taking your money. Now, if you had all that money that you had, you invested wisely with that money, you know, you went through the steps, you bought a truck, then you get to the next step, you buy another truck, then you buy another truck, and then you get out of the truck, and then you have people running for you, and you don't have any overhead costs, no truck notes, nothing, no risk associated, essentially faster than you could have gotten those trucks at loan, where you still owe all that money. So I see owner-operators, I see business people, and I see morons always saying, build your business credit, build your personal credit. No, that is moronic. That's saying I need to spend money to, I have to give away free money that I have earned. I have to give it all away in order to give away even more money. That's what you're doing. Come on, look at this logically. Look at the philosophy of what I'm talking about, right? That is what you are doing. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. You're like, well, how do I get to that point? Well, don't use credit cards. Don't put a loan on your car. Buy it cash. Because if you buy it cash, there's no risk, right? So you get those 5 trucks. You owe $300,000 because of interest over X amount of time. So your truck notes are coming in. You're paying employees. You're paying for insurance. You're paying for everything to keep up on your tags and your IFTA and all that shit, right? And you're paying all that shit. What happens when one of your trucks goes down? Well, you just took a major loss because you've always borrowed money. You've always borrowed money. You're always in a high-risk scenario. So your business might fail. And why do businesses fail? Not necessarily because your business plan sucked. Well, okay. Not necessarily because the business itself was bad. But because your business plan sucked, because you borrowed money. which makes you in a high-risk scenario. If your business wasn't doing well after your first 5 months, 6 months, you can go under. Why do most businesses fail? Because you've borrowed money. You're high risk, right? What podcast was I listening to last night? Joey Diaz, the Church of What's Happening Now, and they were talking about parties, that they would have these parties, and they would pay comedians and people to have sex and shit like this crazy fucking scenario, and they put all their money into it, which is high risk, low reward. Maybe there's a reward, but when it came to distributing and selling copies, they only sold like 130 copies, and they put like $1 million into it. So they essentially fucked up. They went under by a lot. Why? Not necessarily that the plan wasn't bad, or the business itself was bad, but because they put money into stuff and stocks into stuff that they didn't know would be lucrative. So, again, we're going to go back. Think about it with me. I had a friend that always borrowed money from people. And I've known him for years, and, I have no problem lending him money. He even paid it back. He was nice about it. He was good about it. So, even if it's $20 or $200, hey, you need money? Here you go. And I had no problem because he used to always pay me back. So, you more pay me back. And I didn't put interest because I'm his friend, right? So even without interest, without having to pay more money back, what happens? He pays me back, but he's always behind. And the point of being behind is that you're never going to get ahead. So if something bad was to happen in his life, he doesn't have extra money saved up. He's already in debt, right? He's already beyond bankrupt. He's in debt, right? And if he's in debt, $200 to me, $400 to another friend, $100 here, $200 there. Now, granted, again, always paid back, but always behind. So now that you understand that you're always behind, and you've already spent all this extra money on things, so you're actually spending more money than what it's worth, you're always going to be behind. It doesn't make sense logically, right? It's a scam. Credit is a scam. You're never going to go ahead. Now, let me entertain you the thought of never fucking with a credit card. Never building your credit. Entertain this thought with me, okay? You saved $100,000 because you don't have to pay extra over years and years and years to build a number big enough to be able to go out and, again, spend more money on something that you can't afford. So, $100,000, I bought 2 trucks for $100,000, and I even got out of the truck because I don't have a truck note. All I have to pay is the insurance and my drivers. I can get out after 2 trucks and be lucrative with no risk. Right? And what's the biggest risk? You lose a driver, and maybe you might have to go back in the truck for, until you find another driver. That's like the biggest risk. If your truck goes down, you're saving money. You're not constantly spending money. So that $100,000 that you saved, totally was not needed. I mean, you didn't have to spend that to get credit because you already have it. You paid cash for 2 trucks. There's no overhead costs. Very, very lucrative. No risk. Spend things cash. Because when you spend things cash, you understand that there's nothing more you owe. Now, why are you owing things at interest? Because you don't know how to be financially stable. You don't know how to be lucrative in whatever it is that you are doing. So, I encourage you to stop being the guy or woman in which always needs to borrow money. Well, that car looks nice and I have enough money for money down. Isn't that cute? You know what I think of? Moron, slave, low IQ, idiot. Don't build your business credit, pay it cash, less risk, higher reward. You're spending less money for no reason. Well, I don't have much money. So, yeah, you know why you don't have enough money? Because you're not doing the things that you should be doing now to make enough money, right? Yeah, it's going to be more work. No, what's really going to be more work is borrowing that money and having to pay back $300,000 when you could have just bought those 2 trucks with that money that you saved from not doing years of credit card debt or buying and loaning cars and shit like that. You saved so much money over those years. So think of it wisely. Don't just go out and spend it on stupid shit and waste all your money. Think of it wisely. You got $100,000 now, you buy 2 trucks. And this is in any field you can do this. You can think of it any field. You can buy a full house, cut it in half and, board up one half, and now you got a 2-bedroom and a 2-bedroom, and you rent out both sides. You can think of it any logical way possible, but you need cash to do it. If you're loaning a house, then you're always paying a mortgage. And then if something goes down in the house, now you got to redo the whole plumbing, you're not going to be able to afford it because you're already dishing out money for no reason. But if you paid cash, then it's all fucking revenue. And your business is going to be much better. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, what if something goes down and I can't afford it? You need credit in that scenario. If something goes down and you can't afford it, that means that you're not a fucking adult. You don't know how to put away money. That's what you should be doing. Putting away money. I don't care if you bury it in the ground. I don't care what you do with it. I don't care if you put it in a bank. It doesn't really matter. Because truth is, the credit is the scam. You're always going to be borrowing money at interest. You're always going to be spending more money. And it's so much more risk. Why do you think banks don't loan you money? Because it's risky. Unless you got a high enough credit score, then we know, and we got to see their income, and we got to make sure that they're putting in money as well. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, you can just get anything you want right now if you have a 900 credit score. You can just go out and buy a $40,000 truck, put down nothing probably if you're at 900 credit score. Put down nothing. Now that $45,000 truck, you owe $60,000 or $55,000, right? Depends on what you do there. But the point is, why would you do that? Why don't you just buy the vehicle and have no overhead cost? And that vehicle is, that's it. You're done. $45,000. The point is, save your money. If you're an idiot and spends it all over, and you need a place to invest it or something like that, you're not investing anything when you're throwing it away to make a number higher. And that number is not a monetary value. It is literally fiction. It's being able to borrow more money at interest. That's literally the only good for it, is that now you can get some borrow more money at interest. It's a scam. It's a racketeering scam. It's, okay, your number's not high enough, so you're going to have to spend tons of more money to me, the credit card company. You're going to have to give me more money so then I can trust to borrow you more money, so then you can pay me even more money. It's a racketeering scam. It's an entrepreneurship based on taking advantage of morons like you that don't know how to put away money. That's what it is, right? Again, I hear these idiots, low IQ, saying you got to build your business credit. It takes money to make money. Shit like this. No, if you're trying to throw away money, yeah, they're totally fine with you throwing away more money, and we'll give you that number. It's going to be higher. This fictional number, because that's all numbers are, is fictional. There is no such thing as that 10-digit scale that you just had a number that's based on something called credit, which doesn't exist. It's fictional. It's an agreement between you and a corporation. Let's say Visa or MasterCard or your bank or whoever, right? The financial institution that's going to let you borrow money because guess what? You're going to pay them more money. How can you possibly be okay with that? I'm kicking myself in the ass for buying a car when I had 490 credit, right? 490 credit, and I still was like, I gotta build my credit like a moron. In 2015, I put $5,000 down. I think I had to finance like 10 grand or something like that. And then on top of that, I had to spend another 5 grand over time. So think about it. Who got screwed here? Me, and only me. The banks are fucking well off. They just got tons of money for no fucking reason. Because I wanted a brand new car instead of spending 5 grand on a clunker or a used vehicle, which I was used to. I was used to used vehicles my whole life because that's what I could afford. And that was good because that means that gave me an opportunity to save up more money. Because here's the thing. Used car, new car. Used car, 5 grand, get you A to B. Shit, used car, 1 grand, get you A to B. New car, 15 grand or more, or 10 grand or 50 grand. Get you A to B. Same fucking price. Or same fucking method. Right? And they use essentially the same amount of fuel, same amount of insurance, you know, give or take. Obviously, a brand new Mercedes-Benz is going to be higher up in insurance costs, and it's just ridiculous, right? Get you all A to B. But if you can't afford that $50,000 vehicle, don't fucking do it. Don't get a loan. Don't do it. You're not ready for that. It's going to give you all this overhead cost. So, my suggestion for you guys before this video gets too long, don't fall into the scam of credit. There is no benefits that outweighs spending all that extra money. None. Buy everything cash. If you can't afford it cash, don't get it. Don't get that $40,000 vehicle because it's going to impress a female. Well, guess what? You're not going to have money to take her out. You're not going to have money to do anything until you pay that off. And unless you're really, really concerned with borrowing money for you really fucking truly believe that it's going to work and your business plan is going to work, which I'm going to tell you right now, it is not going to work. It's way higher risk, and you're spending way more resources that you could be actually putting back into your business right now. But nope, you're just dishing out more money. If you're not ready for it, that means you don't have enough money for it. Straight up. So my suggestion, my advice, stop getting loans, stop buying things you can't afford, and save up money, pay for it. You're already ahead of the next guy who's still paying that truck note. Doesn't matter if you buy a used truck for 20 grand or a brand new truck for 120 grand or more or less. Doesn't matter. Does the truck do the thing that it's supposed to do? Check. Right? So don't put 20 grand down on a new vehicle, new truck, if you can get a used truck for 20 grand as well. Right? It just doesn't make sense to me to spend even more money, another 100 grand for what? Because it might not break down. Well, you just spent 120 grand. If you just bought that used truck for 20 grand, that breaks down, you can afford it. You have another 100 grand to fuck with. Come on. This is kind of simple. Oh, you might need a new engine for it. Okay, put money aside. Don't just put all your eggs in a basket. You wouldn't do that with a brand new truck, right? You're not going to put every fucking penny you ever earned ever into a brand new truck and still have that overhead cost. Are you? It doesn't make sense. You're going to have money aside as well. Same thing if that truck is used, because the same potential problems for each vehicle can occur. Don't build business credit. That is throwing away money and increasing your risk. I would love for somebody to tell me otherwise. Well, you could get that 4 trucks sooner, and then you can start paying off that shit, and then you can be making more money while you have those 4 trucks. You could say that to me, but you still have that overhead cost, and if 1 truck goes down, your whole business plan goes down, because now you're down to 3 trucks until you can afford that other truck again. So you might as well play it smart. Don't apply risk. Have more money in your pocket, so if shit went down, you can afford it. And there's no overhead risk where you need to spend, what, $300,000, right? What do you think that is a month? I could do the math right now, but I'm just going to say it's not cheap. If 1 truck goes down, then the other guy quits on you, and now you're down to 2 trucks. Are you even making enough for those notes for 300 grand? Let alone your insurance costs and fuel and all the other shit. Are you even making enough in those 2 trucks to pay for those 4? Probably not. But if that same scenario happened with everything paid off, come on. You don't have that overhead cost of 10 grand a fucking month or whatever it is to start paying back that shit. It's not cheap, 10 grand a month. You ain't gonna eat anything but ramen noodles, and you're a business owner? Nah, you're an idiot. You're an idiot because you're throwing away money, you're increasing your risk, and you're not having any reward. So you're not gonna be lucrative. Now, if I had 5 trucks, it's all paid off, 2 of those drivers quit on me, or 1 truck goes down or whatever, I can pay for that truck to get fixed. You know, because I have no overhead costs, so that, let's say that truck costs 3 grand to get fixed. Boom, 3 grand, easy, right? Because of all that other money coming in. Then I have time to, yeah, I need a driver, yeah, I'll do your drug test and get you started as soon as you want. Get that going, and it's easy. It's something manageable. But if you have 10 grand or whatever that is floating in or whatever, if you're only having 2 drivers or 3 drivers, that's going to be really tough because you got to pay the drivers, then your truck's maintenance costs are going to increase, and you're not going to be able to afford it. And that's how you can go under. Now, if everything's paid off, again, it's so much easier. And you can already start saving up. You can have a fund, you know, like 20 grand, you know, save up at least 20 grand in your maintenance account or more, because you have 4 or 5 trucks at that point. You're gonna have a maintenance account of 50 grand. You don't touch that 50 grand, you make sure always 50 grand's in there, and then boom, start another account. Start saving up for your 6th truck. Come on now. Come on. Just start off, do what you can afford now, and build better and 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 better. And then those used trucks turn into all brand new trucks when you can afford it, right? And then your whole fleet's going to be brand new 2022 vehicles, right? When you get to that point. But the point is to start now, saving up your cash, getting to the next point that is going to be lucrative to get more money out of it, and get to the next point, and get to the next point, and get to the next point. But again, if you're always in debt, because after you borrow 300 grand, and now all those vehicles need new engines and new all that other shit, you weren't able to save up money for that. You're a higher risk because you're spending 100 grand extra for no fucking reason other than you wanted this shit now. But if you didn't do that, that 100 grand would be in your pocket. Plus the 100 grand to save up for being able to have enough credit to even make that happen. You'd be so ahead of the game that you can bathe in your money. But nope. You know what you want to do? You want to rush to be owner-operator. So you put a loan down on a truck. You're not making the money you thought you were because you have this truck note. And by the time the truck note's paid off, it's going to be a piece of shit. And you're going to have to put more money into it. So what do? Well, I like the new truck, so you go ahead and do another loan. Congratulations, you're never improving your life. You're just skimming by. Why? Because you decided to build your credit. You decided to always be on a loan. You decided to never save up any scraps of money. And you're always behind. just like everyone I've ever known that's always asked to borrow money. Let me borrow money. Well, you're behind. You're behind. You're not ahead. You're behind. If you're $300,000 in debt, you're behind a lot. Behind. You're not ahead. You might have your 5 trucks, but you're way behind somebody who doesn't have any trucks. Right? Because you're already 300,000 behind. You're behind. And if something was to happen, you're even more behind. You're never going to get out of that hole. And that's designed that way for a reason. Borrowing money isn't good. Never has been, never will be. Well, I need this money for equipment, and yeah, you're an idiot. That's why businesses fail. Because you're starting out behind. I'm starting out ahead. I'm saving up money for my first vehicle, my first truck, I mean, that I'm going to buy cash. Make sure that truck's going to be able to run me. Make sure that I'm going to be lucrative. And I'm going to start off under my own authority so I make as much money as I can. Build up my insurance with my insurance companies, which is way more important than business credit. So I can start making everything cheaper for me. Buy everything cash. I'm ahead of the game. What if my truck goes down if I have money? I've saved up. I've made adult decisions. Now, I'm sorry for rambling. I'm sure none of you guys made it this far.